We are going to hear from Jerry Dipoto tomorrow morning. And I do not envy Rock and Salk for asking those questions. That's really tough. But I am really curious to listen because it's probably the last time we're going to hear from Jerry Dipoto for a while. And there are a lot of unanswered questions that I have, starting with like what this 54% measure means to him and whether he views the beginning of every single season as like, yeah, we're going to win a World Series. This is what we want to do. Like, I guess I would love to hear a sense of urgency from him.
Right. You want your leader to say, this is the year. All right, we're going all in. Hey, let's go get it. Every year we show up with the hopes to compete to win a World Series championship. Not, hey, we win 54%, we hang around for a little bit. Then eventually maybe we'll get a World Series. Even if that's the way that you feel, you stand up in front of your squad, in front of the press, I feel like, and say, you know what, every year, isn't that why we play the game? We play to win championships.
I play to win 54% of the time.
Crazy to me.
No one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear it. They want to hear you say you want to win as much as they do.
Yep.
That's all they want to hear.
That's all they want.
And maybe a little bit what your plan is to get there. Like, do you want to go after some of the big names in free agency, of which there are fewer this year?
Yep.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about that. Like, I'd love to hear a little bit more about what he means when he says you don't have to necessarily win with big names. Does that mean that you are going to win with draft and developing and trade? Like what is your
that's
what
exactly
is your
what that means to me. I think that's exactly what he means. That's
I know.
their philosophy. Just like their philosophy was to control the zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their philosophy is, hey, let's compete with these. We got a star. Let's get some bats out there. We're not going to spend a lot of money,
right?
But if we develop these bats correctly, something that we haven't shown that we can necessarily do,
and that would be my follow-up question.
Yeah,
right.
That's why. I never knock a man for his philosophy in the way to do things, right? Clearly, Jerry has had enough success to be in the positions that he's in right now. You can look over the 8 years. You can say only 2 of his teams have made it to the playoffs. I get that. I understand that. But once your philosophy has been proven to not work consistently, then you tweak something. So if I get the same narrative during the offseason that I got last year, and I don't see anything that says these guys are going to compete, I think I'm allowed to be frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone else is allowed to be frustrated. Still going to support this team.
Of course.
Still going to cheer for our dudes.
It's like Nelson when he called. I can't quit you.
I can't quit you.
I can't quit you.
That's how we feel right now.
I know, and it's so frustrating. It's frustrating, but it's also the reason people are mad. And if you're not mad and you don't care, that's fine. But the reason that so many people are mad is because they do. And that's how their fandom is expressing itself in the form of just a lot of disappointment and anger and frustration because they're like, yo, 1 year in the last 20, I've been able to watch this team in the postseason, and they got swept in the ALDS, and it didn't quite feel like it. They were competitive.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to catch up and pass the Astros.
Yes.
That's
an argument I'm seeing too. Is that not a lot, but a couple people have said, well, they closed the gap on the Astros. Yes, you won the season series, but when it was time to win, the Astros turned it on. And did you really close the gap? Because if you did close the gap, then your talent would be able to match their talent, and you would have won the game. So you're supposed to win in those moments. So I still look at the Astros. I'm like, they're just a better team than we are right now. The numbers can kind of fool you when you look at the AL West. AL West. Someone also said, "Oh, well, bump. They were in first place in September. Is that not a step forward?" I go, "Who's worried about September? What about August? What about October? I want to play in October." I could have won 4 Apple Cups,
I was going to say, I like your Apple Cup
I could have won 4 Apple Cups, but you know what? We tricked it off in the third quarter. Ain't nobody asking me about the third quarter.
Yeah, no one said they almost won 4.
Nah, everyone at UW was like, oh, what happened in 06? Bump didn't win that one. What if I said, yeah, but the third quarter, we had y'all.
Right. It was a step forward, honestly. Yeah. We've never been that ahead that late in a game.
I just don't understand that. It's a results-driven business. So when you don't get the results that you set out to get, that you had people believe that you were working towards, you're going to have these questions.
I would love to also hear Jerry's takes on kind of that clutch thing that you were talking about, because Scott talked about it, and one of his solutions, it sounded like, was like, let's get some people who have been there, but who are actually successful. Like, don't give me Colton Wong and AJ Pollock, who have been there, but then they can't be a leader in the clubhouse because they aren't winning. Like,
'Cause they're not-
no new person can get there and be a leader when they're not doing anything unless your name is like maybe Nelson Cruz.
Right.
You know, you have to have already established quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, maybe a veteran who's been there who can talk to these guys can help. I
And
want to know.
produce.
I want to know what Jerry thinks an approach might be. Whether he agrees with Scott, because then that tells me, hey, if the skipper's in agreement and the president of baseball ops is in agreement, I think we're going to see an older veteran in this clubhouse.
Yeah, it's necessary, and I think every year they try to get that.
Yeah.
Right. Every year you bring over a guy. Last year was Santana. This year was AJ and Wong, and the only one to really have an impact, at least the last couple of years, was Santana, and he wasn't. He didn't have the slash numbers, but he had the moments. And there's been no one that they brought over, a veteran wise, as of late, other than Santana, has had the moments. You got to be clutch.
An important and fair question from the 360. I'll let you answer it. Can you truly say Jerry has had success when he's never gotten over the hump?
It depends on what you define as the hump.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting into the World Series. I mean, you're the only organization to not go. But we also have to acknowledge how hard it is to get to a World Series in baseball. So for me, getting over the hump this year would be getting to exactly where you were last year and winning one more game, right?
Yeah.
Get in the playoffs, win a series, win a game in the next series. That would have been a step forward to
Yeah,
me.
you're right.
Because you
It changes
literally did better than what you did last year.
Yeah, changes every single year. I mean, I think Jerry did himself a disservice because, again, this group has gotten you what I think is the most talented position player since A-Rod and Julio. And you can say, you might just very much disagree with me.
And Brock Castillo and Robbie.
And that's fine. But yeah, you have some of the best pitching depth that I've seen here in years. Depth that I've seen in years. You have the most consistent bullpen that I've seen in years. You have one of the greatest talents I've seen in years, but you're not complete. And I think that maybe that's also
what
part
he's
of it.
saying.
That's what it is. I
That's
want
what
to
he's
hear
saying.
that you know that you're very much incomplete and then
Yeah.
what your plan is to become more complete.
Yeah, because they're saying we've done a lot of good things. Facts. But you can't just lean on we've done a lot of good things, so y'all need to chill. No,
Yeah.
it's we've done a lot of
Yeah.
good things, more to come. Just hang in there with us, man. I think we understand what we're doing and we're moving in the right direction. Fell a bit short this year, but I really like where we're at right now.